Okay, if it's Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, that can mean just one thing. It's time for the goRIA live stream. And as I like to do on these Wednesday afternoons is put a spotlight on either what is new or what will be new for goRIA.com. And super pleased to announce that I will be taking goRIA on location for the third time next week at the CAIS conference in Beverly Hills. So appropriately, we have Alex Cavalieri with us, who's the Chief Marketing Officer of CAIS. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to have you out back to LA next week.
Yeah, it truly is a spectacular conference. So, alternative investments, clearly a very popular topic these days, and for good reason. Uh, Tell us, if you would, please, what's going to be in store for us, lucky enough to be there next week in person.
Yeah, so we're going on our fourth year for the conference, which is just crazy to think about in terms of it being the fourth time we've done this conference. And it's really grown to be the marquee moment, marquee event for independent wealth and alternative investments. This year, we're expecting around 1,200 folks in the room, about 800 advisors. That every advisor from an RIA as well as an independent broker dealer. So we're really getting a range of advisors who run their own practice outright, and then those who are affiliated with larger broker dealers. I think the other cool thing about this is that 50% of the people who are coming to the conference are net new attendees. So
Hmm.
as we've seen this event grow over the course of the past 4 years, we've really seen people not only wanting to come back, which is the other 50%, but also people who are net new coming to the conference. And I think the big thing that we've really focused on this year is that we understand that everybody's in their own alts journey. So essentially, a good portion of those are super users of alts. A good portion of those are what we call alt dabblers, and then a good portion of those are brand new to the alt space. And I think that just the way the alt space has really grown over the course of the past several years in terms of interest and just activity across the wealth ecosystem, we're really excited to bring a new set of content to the group, an evolved set of content to go everything from macro all the way down to specific asset classes and structures.
That's fantastic. So, something I say quite a bit about conferences, and clearly I'm a huge fan of conferences, and I never really articulated it this way, but I want to today. And it's the following, especially for those folks in the RIA space, which is kind of who we cater to, or people looking to go RIA, of course. I think back on my own experience, right? So when I started Sovereign as a firm, as an RIA, there were three of us, right? So there's only so much information exchange between three people, right? So it's not like you're sitting on a floor or two floors or three floors of like a Merrill Lynch and you have hundreds of other advisors to bounce ideas off of. So when you are a smaller shop, as RIAs tend to be, there's clearly some large ones, conferences are so useful. And I've said this quite a number of times. For the content, absolutely. The breakout sessions, you bet. But what I get the most out of conferences is the interaction of the advisors amongst themselves. How are you integrating alts? What do you think about private credit? I think that's what's really outstanding. And I think you guys have done a really great job in helping to facilitate that type of networking. What do you have in mind for this year to help advisors like me connect with other advisors to share ideas amongst ourselves?
Yeah, and you said it, every advisor, every practice is unique, where there's how they're approaching their practice, their life cycle of where they are in their practice. Are they a net new RIA? Are they an RIA who's been around for a long time? Are they a big team? Or are they a small team? And there's an opportunity for everybody to learn from each other in terms of how they're thinking about their practice, but also how they're thinking about alts within the context of their practice.
Mhm.
And this year, our big focus and one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is essentially moving to the feedback that we hear from the attendees. So in the past, we heard from attendees that they just want more time for networking. They want to dig into exactly what you're saying, what their peers are doing, learning from their peers. So this year we have essentially a few new activations that we're standing up. We have a networking hub that we are
Hmm.
launching that we're essentially it's a dedicated space just for networking. We have our Alts Arena, which is essentially an activity center where you can network and have a good time, where we have different activations and activities set up. And then we're also doubling down on our breakfast roundtables and also our sponsored dinners. So our essentially what we're doing is we're expanding the opportunities for networking into the agenda, between just giving advisors the ability to talk to each other, but also creating some structure around it, right? Being able to have
Mhm.
time bound conversations, being able to have conversations in a dedicated space, to really give some structure to those. And then we're also we've leaned in a lot this year to our event technology for where advisors, managers can book one-on-one meetings with each other in a much more scalable way than they've done in the past. So that's a net new experience that we've rolled out. And we've already, not even, the event's a week away, but we've already had around 400 one-on-one appointment requests on the app already, which is
Nice.
just amazing to see. And we obviously expect that number to go up a lot higher.
That's fantastic. And I'm definitely in, again, I go to a lot of conferences, seeing more and more of that. So I think it's brilliant that you guys have tacked that on as well. And as we're coming up on time, you mentioned fun.
Mhm.
And your conference delivers a lot of information, delivers a lot of networking opportunities, but it's not a horrible place either to be, right? Right in Beverly Hills. And I tell you what, you guys put on one heck of a show. So we covered the content, fantastic, the networking. Give us a little taste on what we could expect for the fun, some of the activities, and some of the special guests that you guys have become known for.
Yeah, so we obviously we build our events around education, we build our events around networking, but we know advisors are there. They want to have a good time. They want to be able to have experiences, and life is about experiences. So I mentioned this before, but we're standing up our Alts Arena, which is essentially an activity center. We have a whole bunch of games in the experience where advisors can network, but also play a game of foosball, play a game of pop a shot, be able to have a little bit of fun along the way. We obviously have our night celebrations throughout the event, and then we have a couple of surprise lock notes, which I can't go into specifically, but in the past years we've had Serena Williams, we've had Kevin
Mhm.
Costner, Jason Sudeikis, and this year we're really leaning into this idea of legends in their own space, legends in the sports and media space, that we've seen just have amazing careers, be able to not only have an amazing sports career, media career, but also see how they can essentially lean into other things post career. So we're super excited who we have at the lock notes this year. And for those who are there, we'll obviously, get the gist of who they are. But we're incredibly excited to have some surprise guests join us.
All right. Can't wait to find out who those are and see them myself. So, Alex, I think that's a good place to put a pin in it for today. Oh, let's talk about the dates. Is there even still time to register? I don't know.
Yeah, so there's not. So
Yeah.
it's October 13th to the 16th. The other interesting thing going into our fourth year is just the way the compounds. We sold out the event in 2 months this year,
Wow.
way back in the spring. So we've been sold out for a little bit, but we are. One of the other thing we're deploying this year is we are live streaming some of the sessions for the first time,
Nice.
only to those in our network. But if you have access to Bloomberg, Bloomberg's going to be live streaming some of their sessions on the terminal,
Hmm.
and we're just super excited to bring everybody together in LA for what we think will be an amazing event.
All right. I'm sure it will be. And I tell you what, if you're lucky enough to be someone that will be in attendance, I will see you there. Be sure to stop by the goRIA recording booth. And for those of you not fortunate enough to be joining us for whatever reason, I will be covering it all day as I look at my calendar on oops, hold on, live TV here, on the 15th and the 16th, or the 14th and the 15th. I'll be covering it live for investment news and goRIA. So I'll be covering about 4 or 5 segments each day. So again, if you're not going to be able to be there in person, tune in to investment news on any one of these channels that you're hearing this on now, and you'll see me doing some live coverage as well. All right, so that's it for today. Alex Cavalieri, thanks so much for joining us, and I will see you next week.
Thanks so much, Chuck.
All right. And for today's live stream, that's all we have. So on behalf of goRIA Fueled by Investment News, I'm Chuck Fela, and I'll see you next Wednesday from the CAIS conference in Beverly Hills. Thanks for joining us. That's it.